Folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to make a pendant using this pretty guy and some coreana chain and some Connemara marble. Let's turn down and I'll show you what I have planned. I have this length of coreana chain. I'm thinking we're going to make this 20 inches, so I'll just cut this here in a minute and put the rest back in the baggie. I have a bail and this. Now, they have a jump ring on here. I don't like these kind of jump rings, so I'm going to take this off and put an oval jump ring in here. Then I have some 8mm and some 6mm Connemara marble, which are going to go on either side here. Actually, my original plan was to butt this right up against these, but the more I think about it, the more I think I'm going to remove it from the edge a little bit and move it up. Then I have a magnet clasp. It's a little box magnet that I got from Bead Box Bargains. And we have some bead caps and a couple of these little clam shells. Now, I've never used these before. I've never been real fun. They always seem flimsy to me, but we're going to try them. And these are going to go on, well, either side of our pieces here. So now I was told that when I did my last video with the coreana chain that you could use a regular crimp on these. That a regular crimp would work just fine. Well, and somebody said since I prefer Softlex Magic Crimper that those would work too. I've never tried it, so we're going to try it today. Now, if it doesn't work with the Magic Crimper, I do have the regular kind of crimper, and I can just switch it over to that if I need to. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to cut 20 inches of chain because that's how long I've decided we want this to be. So there's 12. And then another 8 is 20. Now I'm going to cut that just a little smaller than that because we are going to put, of course, our hardware on it, so it's going to make it be a little bit different. So we'll just cut this baby. And we're going to get the rest of it wrapped up and put back in its baggie. We don't want to lose our chain. This is an extremely flexible chain. But it's now got a knot in it. But the last time I got a knot in it, it came out pretty easily. So let's see if that's going to be the case this time too. All right, which way are you going? Right here? And are you going to untwist here, or do I need to pull you apart? Oh, what are we doing? Looks like we're twisting up. There we go. Not hard to get out done. So wrap this baby up. And I let it loosen, obviously, because I'm getting a big bag down here in the bottom, but that's all right. I just need to have it wrapped up enough to put it back in its baggie. So, in you go, baby. There we go. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside right now. I'm going to get this jump ring I don't like off of this pendant. And we're going to get a couple jump rings so we can put a regular one on here. Now, because I am going to use that magnetic clasp, I'll just get 3 of these out. Well, that's 4. We only need 3. And the other two will be for the clasp here. So let's open this baby up. And we'll put it on the bail. Come on, let yourself slide over here. I appear to have a bit of the shakes today. There we go. Close this baby up. I always do that. I like the break to be towards the back, and I always seem to put it in the front. So let's see if we can get this to turn. Come on, let's turn. We may need to open it back up and put it back on if it doesn't want to switch itself here, which it's not appearing to want to do. No, it doesn't want to. So we'll open this back up and switch it. Like I say, I do like the break in the back if possible, and I keep doing it the other way for some reason. So now this one, the bail is exactly the same either side, so I am just simply going to switch this pendant so it is going the other direction. Come on, baby, go on now. And close it back up. So now the break in our jump ring is in the back. So here we go. Now the first thing I want to do is put the chain on to a degree so that I can sort of decide where I want to put my beads at. So we want them up a bit from our pendant, but not an atrocious lot. Now what did I do with those crimp tubes? They're right here. I'll need 2 more. I thought I had enough, but because I've chosen to move my beads. So what I'm going to do is get one side here, slide our crimp tube on, and decide about where I want it. And I'm thinking about right there. So we get our magical crimpers out, and we'll see if they really will do as they say. But I need to make sure this baby doesn't move around a lot on me, because the last time when we did it, if you'll recall, when I finished, my chains were uneven. So we want to make sure they're pretty even still. So here, if we can get it to go without any great wiggling around. That's moving. Let's see if we can see it is moving. Oh, not as much as I thought. Maybe it's just the chain moving. Let's see here. It looks like it should be where it should be. So we will get this back in here and finish crimping it. Make sure it's going to stay put. Yep. Now we want to put one on the other side in approximately the same place. Not sure I like the way that sat on there, but that's all right. It'll be all right. So we need one more crimp for the other side. Get our chains even again. See, it seems to have made a little funny divot there, but I probably can fix that with my pliers. We'll see. So about right here. Oops, I think we moved. Let's see. Now I think this is probably the hardest part, is getting this evened out the where I want it to be at. Come on, up here just a little more. Oops, that one did slide. Look at the way it's moving. That we don't like. By the way, I'm going to see about this spot. Anyway, we need to get this baby back where it should be at and get it crimped up. There. I'm going to hold it with my finger right here. Stop wiggling. Would help if I didn't have the shakes today, wouldn't it? Okay, now it seems to be crimped pretty good there, and I think we may be off as far as our chain is concerned again. Let's see how, if we are. A little bit, not too horrible. So anyway, let's put our beads on here. So we're going to start with this 6mm Connemara. Slide it on down to where the crimp is at. Then we're going to put a bead cap going this direction. Oop, come back here, baby. and then one going the other direction. The big bead. And then of course we're going to be doing this again, this one towards the 8mm. Come here, baby. And one facing the other direction towards the 6. So there is what our little bead strand is going to look like. We're going to have two, one on this side as well as one on that side. This can slide obviously because it's going to be right here in the middle of this. And now we need to crimp this side to keep our beads in place. Now this side should be much easier to do because we're got the beads to hold it where we want it. Well, maybe it's going to be. Like I said, it would be if I didn't have the shakes so bad today. Don't know why I do. Crimp. And then do our turn, crimp. And it looks like it slid up a little bit. It's not right at the beads, dang it. And because it is crimped, it doesn't want to slide. I don't care for that. However, I do have some big crimp covers that would probably be able to go in to take care of that loose problem there. But now I'm going to have to more or less try and get a loose side on the other side so that they're evened out. So we've got our beads. Looks like I have an extra cap. Oh, there it is. I was going to say, where is my other crimp tube? Oops, dropped it off. Now we'll see if this one's going to get closer or if it's going to be looser too. I will probably put bead covers, crimp covers on these so that I don't have to worry about them being loose or tight. Well, this one is tight enough, it would be fine. Though the other one, like I say, is too loose. We're going to have to put crimp covers on the other side. But, so there's how that's going to look. Like I say, we do have a gap here, so we need to put some crimp covers on to cover up the gap. And then the other thing we need to do is see how uneven we are here. Hopefully not very. A little bit. Let's see which one needs to be off some. There, go like that. There is our even out spot. And we're off, oh, not too much, maybe a teeny bit. We'll cut that little extra bit off though. Okay. Now I'm going to get some crimp covers so we can cover up these crimps that are too loose here. I have, if we wanted, we could put them on either side, but that would not give this enough room here. So we got to make sure that what we do is going to be relatively consistent on side to side. So I put crimp covers on this side already. This was the really loose side, and as you can see, it's still a little loose. It's not bad, but it's a little loose still. This side will probably be pretty tight once I put them on because it was relatively tight. So just shove it down over the crimp. Oh, come on, you. Don't argue with me here. Now, if your crimp cover's a little bit closed already, it's going to give you a fight getting over here, which it might anyway, but sometimes they give you a bigger fight than other times. So then just push her closed. And I tend to do it from both sides. Get the first one done and then go in and push down here to try and get the closure to close all the way so that it doesn't look like it's partially open. So there's that one on. If you can get this just right, you can just take it and push it right over the top into your mat, because your mat's soft enough that it'll allow it to go through there. That isn't always the case. Like this one is, I think, open just a touch. I mean, too close just a touch, and it wants to fight going on, but. Come on, push on there. Okay, she's 3/4 of the way on, but see, she's still poking out some. So just push it carefully with your pliers to push it in the rest of the way. There she goes. Now we close her up. Oops, upside down. Now we need to, oh, there it is. I was going to say, where's the other little clamshell? So what do we need to do here is we need to push our chain through the little hole. Like I said, I don't use these very often, but I do know how. And now we're going to have to get a crimp and crimp this end here. Now I can crimp it with this, or I can crimp it with a regular crimping plier, since it's going to be hidden inside the clamshell. So what I'm going to do is got to get 2 more crimps out. We're going to put the crimp on the very end. And since I don't want to argue with it where it's at, I am going to use my other crimping pliers, which are dusty because I hardly ever use them. Just go, you want to go in, when you use this style, you want to go into the bottom and squish, and then turn it and put it in the other side and squish again. So there is that on. Now that should hold this little clamshell thing from releasing it. Then you want to squish your clamshell together like so. And now that side's done, other than hooking it onto our and quite frankly, even though the soft flex crimps work, because they're so wiggly, I think I might prefer to do to use this style of crimp, crimp on it, and then just use a crimp cover to give the pretty, and then I think that it would it might work a little better. I mean, it might stay in place a little better that way. Okay, you. So then squish that side and then turn it and go in the upper one and squish it. Uh-oh, I forgot to put the clamshell on. Darn it, Rose. And now it's too late. It is crimped, so I'm going to have to cut this little teeny bit off here, which means it's now a little bigger than the other one. Is going to be a little longer on this side than the other one again. But oh well, it's not the end of the world, I guess. It's not that much different anyway. Barely any. So now we get a new crimp out. First, let's put our clamshell on so I don't forget it again. Slide it up on there. It can go up as far as you want it to. It's not going to get in the way, and it's not going to be a problem unless you accidentally squish it closed. So, one more of these. Get it on here. Get my regular crimping plier. Get our crimp in the bottom one. It has a little tooth in it, so it folds it in half. Slide this way up here and then squish. Then I'm going to turn it, put it in the upper one so that the folded part is, right here. You can see it there, and squish again. And there is that crimp on. So now we'll push our clamshell back up there over the top of it and push it closed. Now see how easily I pushed that closed? That's one of the reasons why I've never been a big fan of these clamshells. They just squish too easily. So now we'll open up our jump rings. Not sure what I just dropped, but I dropped something. Might have been my tape measure. I don't see it up here. So then we just open our jump ring up. Go through these two little loops. I say two, even though you only see one once you fold it, because before you folded it, there were two. And put on the clasp doesn't seem to want, there we go. And it is a magnet, so it's grabbing hold of my pliers, which is just dandy fine. Now we'll get the other one. Open it up. Again, we go through the two pieces of the clamshell, go over here, grab the other side of our magnet clasp, and close it up. And there we go. We are now done. Now, since I ended up putting crimp covers on these anyway, my feelings on it is that I probably would use my regular crimping pliers instead of my magical crimpers. Not that you can't use your magical crimpers, because I did, but I don't know. I suppose if I hadn't messed up this one side so that it was looser, I probably would have been happier with my magical crimper. But my crimp covers are still looking a little bit open, so I'm trying to get them to close better. There we go. But we are all finished with our little pendant here. Go. And our magnetic clasp is one of these that you put to pop it open, because it's got the little pins to hold it in place. So there we go. There is our pendant all done. Still have a bigger gap over here than I would like, but the only way to fix it anymore is to put another some more crimp covers in. That's the only way I know of anyway. And to do that, you need to put one more of these in, and you couldn't do it over here on this side. You could put it on top, but it wouldn't be symmetrical, because you wouldn't want here, because it would just slide around down here. So, and you would have to use the same style in here, this style, because this would stay here, but the one here is likely to move, because there's no crimp under it to hold it in place. So it would wiggle around and go up. So I'll show you what I mean. If you were to do this, put any more crimp covers in here, you'd need to put one here. And I'm not even sure there's enough room. But it would have to go here, because this is where your gap is at. And because it's going to wiggle, come on, go on there. There we go. Because it's going to wiggle around, it has to be right here. And I'm not sure I like that double look there, because you can't put one at the bottom, because it's the crimp itself that keeps it from wiggling and going up and down the tube. Here, I'll show you what I mean on the other side, because we'd have to put another one on the other side to make it be consistent. And if this was on here, and it could move up and down, see how it can move up and down. Of course, now when this one was being worn, because that is the top, it would stay there. because even though it would wiggle, the gravity will push it down there. So if you wanted to do that, you could. However, and as you can see, that does fill in all the space now so that it's not loose. So we might do that just to, you know, give that more finished look to it. But like I say, this one will be able to move. It's not going to stay put because it's not got the crimp to hold it in place. Whereas this one is going to stay here because it's stuck, so to speak, because of holding in between the other two. Now, it's going to look different because we only have one on either, the two on one side rather than the other side, because we can't put them here because they're just going to slide. So, if we want to do that though, because then we are not wiggling here, it's a simple matter of taking your crimp cover and closing this one. So let's get all our crimp covers to face the same direction, because see how that's going to look like that? And that's no problem. But now, like I say, this one you could crimp it anywhere on here. I mean, squish it closed because it's going to move. It's got the option because there's nothing holding it in this place. There's no crimp underneath it. See how it just took off? And that's no big deal. Like I said, it's going to, because of gravity, it's going to come back down here. And if it really, really bugged you wiggling it around like that, you could take and put in a touch of glue to hold it in place so it couldn't wiggle around like that. So there is what it will look like now, because I put those the extra crimps in to take the space up over here where the extra crimp covers. This one needs to be fixed a little bit. I think it looks crooked. So there we go. And this is, like I said, our wiggly one. And I'm going to wiggle these around a little so they look to be in the back, our crimp covers, so that they are not so obvious. Then I think I'm going to take and put a dab of hypo cement here and see if I can get it to stay right here, because I can put the hypo cement right in the little hole here, and then we'll close it up, of course, so it doesn't go everywhere. And I'm going to hold it for a second until it dries. I suppose you could do that on the bottom too if you wanted to have a second crimp cover on the bottom as well. You could put some glue on here. But there we go. There is our necklace all finished. Isn't that cute? So there we are. There's our pendant all finished. This one is wiggling just a little bit. Its glue is not where I want it. Come on, baby, get down there. Now there we go. There's our necklace. So it does have a little magnetic clasp up here. We used the, what do they call these? Clamshells. So kind of stick your finger right here to pull this apart. It's got like a little divot in the sides here. I don't know if you can see it. See the little spot right here? This is where you stick your fingernail in to open it. So that's your magnetic clasp, your clamshells, and our little necklace. There is our Connemara marble and our little Celtic knot pendant. Hope you enjoyed making this with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we've been using coreana chain and testing out crimps to see which ones work best. Like I said, if I managed to not get that one so loose, I probably would have not used the crimp covers. But if I'm going to use crimp covers, I probably would use just a regular crimp rather than a magical crimp. So there we go. All done. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. Bye-bye.